First heartbreak, still with me to this day, 50 years later. Growing up, my family was pretty poor. I guess I never really understood that until I became an adult. Anyway, my parents were indifferent to my existence, as they had problems of their own. We move around a lot, and so I was constantly changing schools, literally 12 different schools from K through 12. As a result, I was a bit of a loner and never really had any friends when I was younger. I can kind of remember being in this constant state of mild sadness. Probably depression, but again, I didn't understand all that at 13 years old. One year, in the middle of my 8th grade year, after moving yet again, I was once more the new kid in school. Junior high school kids can be brutal, and I was picked on and tested pretty relentlessly as the new kid. Early on in that newest school, I absolutely fell madly in love with Colleen. She was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen in my young life. Popular, smart, homecoming queen, cheerleader, the whole package. Unfortunately, Colleen didn't know I existed or even cared. A lot of the kids bullying me were part of Colleen's friend group, and if she even noticed me, that would be why. I got slapped in the face by one of her girlfriends for bumping into her in the hall, got spitballs thrown at me, and literally punched in the stomach several times for no reason by some of her guy friends. Unfortunately, I was kind of used to it all at this point. One day after school, after all the buses had left, I was still there because I missed my bus after school. I was sitting by myself on the school steps waiting for someone to pick me up. I was usually forgotten by my parents until it got dark and they eventually realized I wasn't home. But who should walk up but Colleen? I guess she had just gotten done with cheerleading practice. To my surprise and delight, she actually made some small talk with me asking about where I was from, my likes and dislikes, and why I thought people picked on me so much. She even said I didn't deserve that treatment, and she felt bad about it. Anyway, Colleen lived real close to the school, so she offered to ask her mom to drive me home, since it was obvious my parents had forgotten yet again. We walked to her house together, talking and laughing and becoming what I thought friends. I was on cloud 9. We got to her house, and her mom was gracious enough to drive me home, and Colleen came along for the ride. They giggled and joked, even called me cute in the car. Things are looking up. The next day at school, Colleen was sort of acting again like she didn't know me a bit, I guess because she was embarrassed in front of her friends to admit we had actually interacted. I wasn't too upset about it. After school that day, a very similar scenario. I was sitting on the school steps by myself waiting, and who should appear but Colleen again, only this time she was with 3 or 4 of her cheerleader friends. I looked up and smiled at them, thinking things would be good. Instead, one of her girlfriends, who I had never even talked to before, sneered, "What are you looking at, freak? God, you're such a dork. Get the fuck off our steps." I looked at their faces, and they were all laughing. I looked at Colleen, and she just looked back like she didn't know me again. I just gathered up my stuff and walked down to the curb to wait. They continued torturing me, so I just stood up and walked the 7 miles home, head down, distraught and broken, trying my hardest not to cry. Colleen never acknowledged me again if there were people around, but sometimes just said hi to me if she was sure no one would see her. Anyway, that pretty much sums up my junior high years. Thanks for reading. First heartbreak, still with me to this day, 50 years later.